Jacobite you call me, and the Jacobite I am. I stand for Scotland's laws and rights, I am the loyal man. And if that Culloden here they kill me and I die, the grave which I inhabit is Jacobite as I. I'm proud to be a traitor, cause it's to a tyrant crown. Against a form of slavery, I gladly stand my ground. I'll no accept the union with Shatburn it was made. My rising won't be over until all debts repaid. It's the Jacobite you call me, and the Jacobite I am. I stand for Scotland's laws and rights, I am the loyal man. And if that Culloden would yet kill me and I die, the grave which I inhabit, that's Jacobite as I. No more we'll take handouts with the cap in hand. I'll see the servile chains of faith broken in this land, and I'll see my people honoured with the life that they deserve. And I'll fight them with my dying breath, and that you have my word. It's the Jacobite they call me, and the Jacobite I am. I stand for Scotland's laws and rights, I am the loyal man. And if that Culloden here they kill me and I die, the grave which I inhabit, that's Jacobite as I. There'll be no more clearances, it's them will clear away. No longer am I waiting for a prince over the sea. Now it's in our own hands, our hope and destiny. If you call yourself a Jacobite, come and stand with me. It's the Jacobite they call me, and the Jacobite I am. I stand for Scotland's laws and rights, I am a loyal man. If that Culloden would you kill me and I die, the grave which I inhabit, that's Jacobite as I.
Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you're joining us in the world, and welcome. So, hope you're back with us again. I think we've got a slight echo going again, but I don't think it's as bad as last time, so hopefully we'll be okay. But how are we doing? How are you doing, Glenn? Haven't seen very long.
No, not a great deal since this afternoon. Apart from I've been watching my grandson's new hamster, and that's about it. So nothing earth-shattering whatsoever. Oh, and David Icke. Yeah. Apart from that.
Fair enough. And how's life treating you since the last time we've seen you on there, Angela?
Well, we finally got some snow, not just ice or, bitter cold. So it's beautiful. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I was thinking as we were just sort of going live, I was thinking this kind of shows how long people have been doing this and whatever, because when you can't see us and when we're all sat there while the music is playing, we're usually dancing to the music and whatever and singing along or whatever. But I was watching because Angela was getting herself into the perfect position on screen to make sure she could be seen and make the right sort of, to make sure the production values were good. Glenn, I couldn't tell what Glenn was doing because he kept freezing, so I don't know what was going on there. And I was stuffing biscuits into my face as fast as I could before the music ended. So it just shows who sort of...
Well, I never knew you watched us. Well, I shall modify my behaviour from now on. Yeah, I could be doing anything while that music's on. Yeah. That's interesting. Like Big Brother.
And now I've got a black mark. I can see him making notes, and I've got a black mark for watching him on music.
I have an idea. It's still echoing.
Yeah.
Let me try to put it on the car and see if that works.
That's an idea.
Oh yeah, put it on the Bluetooth.
Yeah, I might have to change the camera to have it plugged in. I'm not sure. Hold on. Let me
No
see
worries.
if it
We
works.
will give it a go, because if I don't have to keep muting people, that'll be much, much better.
Okay, turn the volume
Oh,
up.
that sounds promising.
Is that better?
Let's see if it's sounding better with me. Glenn, say something.
Yeah, is there an echo? No, there isn't. Oh, that's
No,
great.
that's
If I
excellent.
if I go sideways, do I
Even
go
better.
sideways, or does it just go bigger? Oh, okay.
That's better. That's better, because you can see
Yeah,
that.
it will be there. Yeah.
There we go. Sorry.
Excellent.
Brief second. Let me I'm gonna put my box of tissues behind it. Ah.
There it is, the second, guys. You know how it works, but it looks like we've sorted the sound problem out, so that will be much better.
That's it.
Yeah.
Low tech solution there. That's great.
Excellent. Excellent. Okay, well, if you were watching
Here we
this
go.
afternoon,
How's that?
that's good.
Sorry.
That is good. If you were watching this afternoon, we were talking about a number of subjects. We were talking about weather warfare. We were talking about using earthquakes and tsunamis and whether they could be focused and used as a weapon. And we were talking about potential exotic weapons and whether they played any part in the taking down of the two towers. Well, or twin towers even. Our first subject tonight is, I think Angela's been watching that show in the interim. So it's basically, she's got a few comments going on from that and moving on from that. So we're going to start where we left off in many ways and go from there.
Thank you. Well, my grandfather was, he sang in choir my whole childhood. And so from an early age, I knew that you could, opera singers could break a glass with matching the frequency of the glass. And I remember the Twin Towers coming down. I worked at the newspaper, and I woke up because I worked second shift. So I woke up later in the morning thinking that it was a movie trailer until I started seeing it on every channel, and then it hit me. But it was strange, like everyone was saying in this morning's show, Ian and Richard and you, Alex. It was odd the way that they came down. And also, I remember ever since then, just bits of information leaking out that they were doing construction or remodeling, like in the basements and areas, or but they would hire different contractors for each job, and they were a few of them said that they were going out and cutting notches in the steel beams. Well, I wonder if maybe why one went down differently than the others. Perhaps it was also a test. But I believe they matched the frequency of the steel to bring the bones of the buildings down. And I believe they used remote controls to control the planes.
Yeah.
I believe it's likely. And they like to watch things. They've always used horrible things to study how it affects everything, even the humans, the planet, the atmosphere, even when it's a negative effect. And sometimes that's their plan. But I believe it was a little bit of both, not just a test, but while brainwashing everyone into thinking that it was, done by the people in the Middle East, and make everyone, phobic of them. It was like killing more than two birds with one stone. It's a whole flock.
Yeah.
Do you know what always puzzles me about the Twin Towers coming down? Well, and this is post that disaster. That was used as an excuse to start basically what was called the war on terror, and bring in things like the Patriot Act. So looking at the war on terror, we suddenly decided we have to focus on Iraq. And Iraq had itself been engaged in fighting the very same people that we blame for bringing down the Twin Towers. So why did we go and invade Iraq in order to punish or pursue these people when they weren't welcome in Iraq anyway? That's that's obviously that's a very simplistic explanation, but there are far more active, or there were far more active countries in supporting ISIS, you might say. And the biggest supporters were actually Saudi Arabia, Israel, and America itself. So it's it always struck me as bizarre that the biggest donors to what we would call Islamic terror have been the countries that have pursued the destruction of it. So that, as far as I can see, it's a self-created enemy, and that's what I've always believed, that these fundamentalist groups are there in order to give a plausible excuse to go and attack wherever you want to attack. And on the resonance side of it, I think there's a lot in that, because we know that if you can make something resonate at a certain frequency, that you get to the frequency where that becomes a destructive force, as in the glass and the opera singer. So and Tesla, as we talked about this afternoon, Tesla experimented with that, didn't he?
Mm-hmm. They got it from him. They stole it from him after murdering him, likely. Maybe.
Yeah.
I think they did.
The FBI did.
That's opinion only, since they won't tell us. But yeah, it was very suspicious.
Yeah, but I think I liked Will. Go on, sorry.
Oh, and looking back at the Christchurch earthquake, how their buildings went down, and that was crazy too.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's connected or not, but there have to have been other instances of testing this that went on under our noses or hidden.
Yeah.
Before they could pull something off on that massive of a scale. Yeah. They're probably just testing the next big one up, like the next huge. How big of an area can we get this? And then they're stealing some cars. So like when you have a bowl in the sink soaking, and you go and you turn it on full blast real quick, and it splashes, boom, the stream goes straight into it, but then there's splashback.
Yeah, also.
So if everything has mass, but so if everything is kind of it is a plasma, but so you wouldn't see it, but I don't know how to explain it. There would be splashback that could get the cars and other things, but not.
I see what you mean.
That weren't in the splash.
Outside of the designated target. So the energy was spilling out. It's one of those subjects. I think possible. 9/11 is one of those subjects that is very much like, as I think Ian was saying this afternoon, it's very much like the Kennedy assassination. We're very much distance in time from the Kennedy assassination. You probably weren't even born.
No,
I was 3, so obviously not aware of any of that. But yet, it's something that people have never been happy with. They've never just accepted. It was, in a way, it was the first time that the phrase conspiracy theory was ever put out there, was to do with the Kennedy assassination. But people have never been satisfied with the official explanation, because deep down, I think there's something, that just basically told you this is a lie. This is a cover story. There must be more to this. And I think that 9/11 is one of those incidents, one of those defining moments that people feel, there's something wrong. There's something definitely wrong. So
Yeah.
even that, what was it? 2001. So I mean, it's 24 years ago. So again, there are many people who probably
people weren't alive then.
Yeah,
a lot of the younger people don't know about it unless their parents tell them about it.
Exactly. Yeah.
It is really. There are so many potential possibilities in some ways, and I find it interesting what Ian was saying, that it might not even be one, it might be multiples of these options. And that would be a perfect way to muddy the waters and make people not be able to see what's going out. There definitely is the potential in resonance and frequencies, like we kind of touched on this afternoon about the not marching over bridges and all that sort of thing. I always remember that one because I used to volunteer at a place called Basing House, and it was kind of ruins, but they had certain bits like the garrison, what they called Garrison Gate was the old gate of the estate, the garrison when it was in the Civil War, and that still stood and it was attached to the neighbouring house. And we had a small, just like humpback bridge over what was stream stroke canal. It became part of the canal later, and there was just this thing. And whenever we had like the Sealed Knot, or we had the English Civil War Society, which are reenactment societies, they were never allowed to march, and they were never allowed to drum over the bridge or through the archway. And at the time, I used to look at it and think, yeah, surely that's not going to do. How can playing it, you know what I mean? But it was a serious rule, and they were seriously told not to do it.
Yeah,
I always sort of struck me afterwards when I really sort of heard more about it and thought, well, hang on a minute, there is some truth in this theory, and there is a reason they're doing that.
Yeah. Because everything in the world, everything that exists, has its own vibration. It vibrates. Everything around us, although we're not aware of it, has its own vibration. And if you match that resonance, if you match its vibration, then you can affect the structure of that thing, that object, that whatever it is. Yeah. And so that is the very reason why resonant frequencies work. That's the very reason why an opera singer can break a glass. It's not the power of their voice. It's the frequency that matches the resonant frequency of the glass. So simple as.
And the other one I always remember, and I don't know who actually said it, but the suggestion being made that when you read sort of like the Bible story, the Wars of Jericho, and the idea that when they march around a certain amount of times, they hit all the noise and whatever, as to whether there could be literally the ability to have taken those wars down with resonance.
Oh yeah.
I
You
don't
can
know
go
who
all
the
kinds
person
of
say
different
that,
ways
but
with that. They could have been the Covenant of the Ark, right? As an energy weapon, who knows?
Well,
and
yeah.
then there's like theories that they used that they could have used frequency to move large stones. If they could do that, they would know how to turn them to sand.
Yeah. I mean, that is one of the. I was talking about this with my son only the other day, actually, while we were building a shed, actually, but because that's the kind of conversations we have. And we were talking about moving enormous stones, and we still have no idea how ancient civilizations managed to move stones weighing, upwards of 1,000 tons and even more. We couldn't even do that today. We don't have a crane capable of lifting that amount. So we discussed the possibility of, well, perhaps they used a whole series of cranes. But each crane, then you'd have to divide the load by how many cranes you would need, and blah blah blah. And extremely complex, but somehow they did it. And with perfect precision. So we've either lost the technique of being able to handle materials in that way, or they had, basically the same thing. They had knowledge of things maybe like resonant frequencies, induced magnetism, things. I don't know. It could be anything, but
we shrunk,
or perhaps it was
we shrunk.
Yeah,
we shrunk.
The giants.
Well, we were talking about giants the other week, weren't we?
That's a true wild card because
Giant,
I believe that's a possibility as well.
I'm not necessarily suggesting it.
No, but I'll tell you, it's as valid as any other theory.
But everything was larger once.
Yeah.
Well, dinosaurs and everything was,
dinosaurs and megafauna, which they blame all
more
the
than once. It went on for a long time, right? Yeah.
Oh yeah. And that's another thing.
Several different. Yeah. Sorry.
We don't know how old humanity really is. We don't know just how far back in time our lineage goes, or if we ever diverged from any other form of life. And on a completely separate but related track, we have actually no solid evidence for evolution whatsoever. There is no instance of any life form that we know changing in any significant way.
There's only adaptation things.
That happen. They adapt,
like with the fur color and stuff. Yeah.
Well, I mean, with no evidence that there is a halfway stage between a bear and a goat, or whatever a bear would evolve into. There is no. We don't have that. So, I seriously doubt evolution is the way that it has been portrayed. I think that we're missing something.
I agree.
I mean, many of these things will be portrayed the way they've always been, the way they want them to be, and anything that contradicts them suddenly ends up, in the vaults of the Smithsonian or wherever else. There seems to be too much evidence to suggest these institutions hide stuff to say that's all a conspiracy theory. British Museum's probably just the same. I wouldn't say it's not for a moment.
The Smithsonian apparently has been covering up the giant skeletons for a long time.
That's what they reckon,
And the Vatican too, I believe, right?
More than likely.
Probably.
Yeah, because it would contravene. It would be, I don't know, because in terms of the Vatican, in the early days,
completely ruined the religion. Sorry.
Yeah, in a way, just like all the books they took out of the Bible, like all the books that they removed, because it kind of didn't fit in with the doctrine. You can't go around telling people, things that don't fit our version. And so I think the early church really, there were lots of councils. I can only think of one, and that's Nicene, but there were several, and Ian probably knows them all. But there were several councils that decided upon what should be in the Bible, what content should it have. And I'm seriously thinking about buying a copy of the Ethiopian Bible.
I've been interested in that one for a long time as well.
It's got all the other books in it, like Enoch and Jubilees and Ezra and things like that, and things that aren't actually in there. So,
and I've heard some of the podcasts about certain books that are in there, but I don't know if it's everything or if it's their interpretation, because it's all up for interpretation apparently. So to form your own, you really have to just read it.
Yeah, exactly.
Or listen to it verbatim. Yeah.
How many books does our current Bible got? 66.
66.
66. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, you just
And
need
the
one more
Ethiopian
6,
one,
don't you? Ha! Sorry.
88.
uh,
Okay.
sorry.
No, it's
There's
okay
so
because
many
I
weird
didn't actually
things.
catch what you said.
Said you
And
only
it's
need one more
also
6, is
and
what she
it's
said.
also twice and it's also twice 33.
33, yeah.
Well, it is. Yeah.
I can't
33.
say it's 33 for Testament because it's not. It's 39
You only need,
27.
you said you only need one
Yeah.
more 6. Right, now I've got you.
Yeah.
I'm
Sorry.
particularly slow on the
My
catch up.
sense of humor is a little twisted.
Oh, dear.
Life gave it to me, so.
Right, so where we come from? We've come from the Twin Towers to the Bible, haven't we? So
Yeah.
that was a nice. I think that was a
Yeah,
nice
the
little
giants
journey
and Stonehenge.
by
Well,
yeah.
and they've used it to like, fast forward into like what we've got going on right now and all this control they've been slowly like pushing on us. They create the problem so they can offer the cure, or they
Oh,
create the
yes.
disaster.
Oh, yeah.
And then they
Problem,
take away
reaction,
more control
solution,
every time. And now it's been 24 years later of them doing that across the world, really.
Yeah, things.
And then they use the Bible. Sorry. And then they use the Bible in a lot of it, Well, it's in the Bible, the prophecy's coming true, and they've been pounding that drum forever.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the Israelis are particularly interested in fulfilling prophecy, aren't they? And they really do would like to see prophecy come true. I think they're actively working towards it, breeding the red heifers and all that sort of stuff. Yeah.
I think it's their prophecy, though. I think we should read the other Bible, the one that's complete, or as complete as we know it.
Yeah, the one you should never read is the
Schofield. I wonder what we would find. Yeah, I wonder what we would find.
That's
Schofield's
the one they quote when they try to make out saying anything against Israel's thing, isn't it?
Schofield,
yeah.
Yeah, and they're always twisting like exactly what it is you can and can't say.
Yeah, it's more commentary than it is text.
Yeah, it's pre-programming.
In a lot of ways, it's like the Torah. The Torah is comment. Not the Torah, the Talmud. The Talmud is a commentary.
Oh, yeah.
It's the opinions of rabbis, but for most, I mean, I'm not saying for every Jew, but for most Jewish people, the Talmud is the basis of the Jewish religion, not the Torah, which is only a very small sort of part. It's the commentary of later rabbinical scholars that really counts, their opinions. And if their opinions happen to say that Goyim, you and me, you're not Jewish, are you, Angela? Yeah. No. So that you're a Goyim, and then you're not Jewish, are you? No, that's okay. I didn't want to insult you.
No, you're fine. I'm not.
That's okay. So you're just one of the cattle. You're one of the cattle, like the rest of us, because that's what Goyim means, cattle. And so if the Talmud tells you, it's okay to abuse the Goyim and you can rape their children and steal their stuff and lie to them, that carries more weight than anything it says in the Torah. So there you go.
And that makes no sense. How can somebody's opinion carry more weight? Unless you're claiming that the rabbis themselves are beyond sin, then how can that carry more weight? But I know what you're saying. They do treat it that way. It's just, to me, it makes no logical sense. Well, just because somebody's written something does not make it true.
Yeah, there's two versions of that.
Yeah. You said that before.
There's two versions of the Talmud. One's called the Babylonian Talmud, and the other one is actually called the Palestinian Talmud, but yet no Jewish person would ever admit that there's such a thing.
So that
I've
one
had
must be the
arguments.
real one.
Well, yeah, it's just different. It came from times when the center of Jewish thinking was centered in different places. So the older one was the Babylonian Talmud, and then later on, when the sort of center of rabbinical thinking was up in Judea, up in around Galilee and that sort of area, not Judea. It was up there, and that one was written in Aramaic. So because that was the language of that was the sort of lingua franca, that was the common tongue that they used, and so it was written in Aramaic.
Yeah.
Whereas the Babylonian one was written in Sumerian or Babylonian, basically. So there you go. Anyway, we'll not get on that subject.
You never will truly know. Just
The
because
worst
something's written
thing
down.
about the worst thing about it though is how they use these revisioned Bibles, or what have you, to commit horrible crimes, and so they use it so that they are immune, right, in their mind, but they're all just
it's
evil.
God told
The
us to
ones
do
that
it in
use
defense.
anyone who uses their religion to hurt another person, it's just
not religious. No.
It's an excuse, and it's using justification. And like I said, you're never going to know exactly who wrote anything.
Yeah.
Just because history tells us one thing, it may be something that can be completely rewritten by somebody in the 21st century.
Yeah, to fit a narrative.
Called into question to match current motivations and ideologies. And Glenn
I'm going to come on to that very subject later on. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the kind of the linking I was giving you.
Right. Sorry, is it me? I kind of got that link, but I didn't realize it was my turn. So it's Sunday night. If you ever watch this, people will probably realize that we try and give each other a little link in, and that's what Alex was doing without me. And I thought, I'm going to do that later on, but not realizing that it's now. Okay, here we go. All right. I'm definitely going to see now. Right. Okay. So basically, this is a story that caught my eye this week, and this is what we do this format where we look at things, items are in the news, don't we? And we comment on them. And because not everybody catches every news article, there's more news than there is time to look at it. Okay, so this story caught my eye, and it involves this woman here at slide 1. Okay, now this is a woman called Irene Coslet, and she is a feminist writer, and she's just about to publish a book that investigates another claim that she's made about Shakespeare. So let's have a look at Shakespeare, just in case people don't know who we're talking about. There he is, William Shakespeare. And he's really what you might call the most English of poets and playwrights. But what Irene Coslet has proposed is that he did not, in fact, compose the works that we know, that the world knows. He did not actually compose all of the plays and the sonnets and the poems, everything that we sort of assign to William Shakespeare wasn't written by him. Now, in a lot of ways, that idea isn't actually new, because there've been generations really of researchers who have questioned whether or not, that this man who was born in 1564 actually wrote all of that work. because he was born to a fairly ordinary family. He was born to an ordinary family in Stratford upon Avon, a family of 8 children, 2 of whom died, and making William the oldest. And they've questioned whether such a man would actually be capable of creating these towering literary works. Now we know, let's talk about what we know about William Shakespeare. We know quite a bit, actually. We know that in his younger years, Shakespeare was a glove maker. That was his trade. And he married a woman called Anne Hathaway. And he married her when he was 18 and she was 26. We actually know that she was 3 months pregnant when they got married, because she had the baby 6 months after they were wed. So it was one of those cases where it was a necessary marriage. Now, it isn't exactly known when this couple moved to London, but they were certainly there by 1585, because both of his twins, named Hamnet and Judith, were both baptized in London in 1585. So we know that they were living in London by 1585. Now, Shakespeare's first published works were 2 poems, one called Venus and Adonis in 1593, and then The Rape of Lucretia in 1594. We know he was a founding member of a troupe of actors called the Lord Chamberlain's Men. And we know that he wrote poems and wrote plays, and produced the plays for this troupe. And he did not a great deal for them, really, only about 2 plays a year. But he did it for about 20 years, and during which time that company changed its name and became the King's Men, under the patron, because they were granted the patronage of King James I from 1603. Slide 3, please, Alex. Okay. So altogether, Shakespeare wrote 38 plays, 2 narrative poems, 154 sonnets, and a variety of other poems. Although there are no original manuscripts of his plays in existence, then there are none known to exist. It's actually thanks to a group of his actors, the people in the company, that we've got any of the plays at all. They actually, after his death, they wrote out his plays and put them in a collection called the First Folio, and that was after his death in 1616. Now, it's been proposed. Remember, I talked about people have often said that Shakespeare didn't write those plays. Well, it was proposed that this man here, at slide 4, was the actual author. Okay. Now, this is Francis Bacon. And Bacon was a philosopher and a writer and a scientist, and probably most importantly, a gentleman. He was of the aristocracy, basically. And so people could accept this idea. And this theory gained popularity, basically, in the mid-19th century. And it was based on the idea that the philosophical ideas found in Bacon's work were reflected in Shakespeare's work. And later it was also claimed that there were what you might call cryptographic ciphers and codes found in the plays to indicate that Bacon was the author. Now, this theory continued to be popular throughout, like I said, throughout the 19th and actually on into the 20th century. But the glaring obvious fact seems to be that what survived wasn't Shakespeare's original scripts, but they were transcriptions that were written down later by the actors. And so you can't claim that the original works contained anything whatsoever. So it pours doubt on this theory. Okay, so that's just a little bit of potted history. So let's go back to this latest attempt to discredit Shakespeare's authorship. And now in her new book entitled The Real Shakespeare, Amelia Bassano Willoughby, Irene Caslett, who I said is a radical feminist author, claims to put forward evidence that this woman here at slide 5, Amelia Bassano Willoughby, now this isn't actually a picture of Amelia Bassano Willoughby because there are no portraits of this woman, but she is known to apparently to have existed. She puts forward the theory that she was the author of Shakespeare's works. Now, Bassano was black, and she was Jewish, and she was a woman, all of which you can pick up from this picture without having to know that. So she was a black Jewish woman, and she was the daughter of a Venetian court musician who, following the death of her father, was fostered into a noble household in England. And there, while she was in that household, she received a high level of education. And she spent her youth really at the court of Queen Elizabeth I, and apparently was quite a favorite of Elizabeth I. But then apparently she was not any longer, because she was banished from the court and forced into an unwanted marriage in 1592. So something must have gone wrong somewhere. Now, in 1611, she's said to have published a feminist theological poem called Salve Deus Rex Judaeorum, Salve Deus Rex Judaeorum, which roughly translated means greetings from the God King of the Jews. Now, she's been linked to Shakespeare since around about the 1970s, when a British historian called Alfred Leslie Rose of Oxford University said he found evidence that she was the mistress of one of Shakespeare's patrons. Shakespeare had quite a number of patrons. I'm not quite sure which patron she was supposed to be the mistress of. And in 2013, a man called John Hudson, who was a Shakespearean play producer, so he produced Shakespearean plays, he proposed that since women were not allowed to write drama or act during Shakespearean times, that Amelia Bassano adopted a pen name to be able to write. And so William Shakespeare was kind of was merely a front for her writings. But once again, there's a bit of a glaring hole. There's a bit of a glaring hole in what Irene Caslett is proposing, because the Amelia Bassano to which John Hudson was referring was actually this woman at slide 7. Have we got there we go. This is Amelia Bassano Lanier, and she's the strongest candidate to have actually been Shakespeare's lover, his mistress. She is a good candidate to be the mysterious dark lady to which he often refers, and very much seems to be obsessed with. But there was about 6 or 7 other candidates that are in the frame to be that mysterious dark lady. Now, Amelia Bassanio-Lanier, strangely enough, was also Jewish. And it's to her that the poem Salve Deus Rex Judeum is actually credited, not to the Willoughby woman. So what are we actually looking at here? Is it, as CONT'D seems to be proposing, that these 2 women were one and the same? That history is basically referring to the married name of Amelia Bassanio Willoughby, in that it then changed to Lanier. So she's basically saying these 2 women were the same. And she also says that her blackness has been airbrushed out by radical prejudice and white supremacy. And she's, and she's basically contending that, as she said, all history should be viewed through the lens of critical theory and feminism. And here we've got the critical theory to what she's referring at slide 18. Critical race theory. She maintains that all history should be viewed through the lens of critical race theory and feminism, and that Shakespeare himself was a radical feminist, and that Shakespeare allowed a Black Jewish woman with whom he was having a long-standing affair to use him as a conduit for her talent. Something that was, she says, abhorrent to later misogynistic, racist anti-Semites. And so it was all covered up. So is that the truth? Or did Shakespeare actually write his plays? Contrary to what CONT'D says. And bearing in mind that CONT'D is a graduate of the London School of Economics, an extremely left-wing Fabian Society-founded school, you can understand why she is asserting this. So is this just another is this just an attempt to yet again divide us among racial and religious grounds? Or could there be perhaps a grain of truth in it? Have we airbrushed or was history airbrushed out to remove an inconvenient Black woman and replace her with a white woman? I'm not sure on that count, but I don't agree that this was somehow a demonstration of white supremacist anti-Semitism in operation. I'm not quite comfortable with that, nor am I comfortable with this idea that Shakespeare didn't actually write his plays. I don't know. Perhaps I'm just too much of a traditionalist. Okay. All right, so there we go. I don't know what you think of that. You're both women. So
bullshit, maybe.
Yeah.
I lean towards the bullshit mark. Did Shakespeare write his plays? I couldn't tell you. Did Bacon write them? Maybe. Who knows? But the bit that starts making no sense in her stories, or several parts of her stories, makes no sense. You say she was a favourite at court and then ended up married to someone. I know people marry out of convenience, and certainly in those days. But what convenience was there with someone who was disgraced from the court? Why would you marry that sort of person unless you had any acceptance towards them or like them in any manner? Because it couldn't be an advantageous marriage unless she would really need to get out of the way quickly to the point that they would pay the person to marry her.
It's
So
described
my
as a
point
forced
being
marriage,
that, sorry,
the
forced marriage,
description, a forced marriage. So either she
assumedly
was
for
so
her, not
discreet.
necessarily for him.
Yeah.
And my point is, if he, whoever he was, had such an interaction to want to marry this woman, because it cannot have been advantageous to him. If he wanted to marry her, then he didn't have a problem with her colour, and any portrait, anything would be commissioned by the family, not by an outsider to rewrite history. So if he married her, he wouldn't repaint her as a different colour than he was. The only argument you could have from that is the tendency in that era to lead paint themselves white. But the features don't look. The features look white.
Yeah, she has no sort of Afro-Caribbean or African features in that. No, and a lot of this seems to be based on this idea that Shakespeare often wrote about this mysterious dark lady. There are quite a few people in the frame to be this dark lady with whom he was completely besotted. But in none of his writings does he actually mention what color she was, what ethnicity she was. No. It seems more that the darkness was the hidden, she's in the shadows, as it were, because she is the secret lover of Shakespeare. So
it could be a hair color, it could be a clothing color, it could be dark as we think of dark as in personality.
Yeah,
it could be any one of those things, or literally, like you say, just because she's in the shadow. I don't know. It seems that it's being rewritten by somebody with an agenda.
Yeah. Could she have been mixed race? Could she have been mixed race? Because some, I know people, their skin tone looks lighter or darker in different lighting. And then if you were kind of medium to light skin, you could put on that lead makeup and make yourself look white very easily.
There might be something in that, because apparently she was of the Amelia Bassineau Willoughby was said to have been of mixed Venetian and Moroccan heritage.
Yeah.
So there could be something in that, because there are no portraits of her. They've immediately jumped to the sort of idea that she was black and she had African features. That is one of the only portrayal, the only images that anyone's produced of this woman, because there are no actual portraits of her. So I think what Irene Kosler is doing, to my mind, is playing around with this whole ambiguity around this woman, around the fact that we're not quite sure whether this was one woman or two women, and the fact that there is this mysterious dark lady. So I think that's what she's doing, but I feel most of all that she's using revisionist history to project quite a radical point of view. In the same way that when our BBC produced when they produced a thing about Henry VIII, Anne Boleyn was played by a black woman, because it was seen as inclusivity and correct, when obviously it was historically completely incorrect. But that doesn't seem to matter. And I feel that this, in the same way, she's pushing this radical feminist idea that how could Shakespeare have written his plays, because he was a lowly born man, he was white as well, and probably a misogynist, and you know, it's only logical that a black Jewish woman would have written this work rather than this man. I don't know, that's the way I feel.
It seems to be vast jumps in assumption, because and as much bias and discrimination as she's accusing history of, because she's saying he can't have written it because he was lowly born. He can't have written it because it wasn't aristocracy. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. I don't actually like Shakespeare's writing. I do not actually. Sacrilegious as it is to say, I cannot stand Shakespeare. I'd rather read Chaucer, to be fair. But if I'm going to read something historical,
I love Shakespeare.
Oh no, I never got on with it. But it doesn't make sense again, because it's the saying, because he's lowly born, he can't have writ it. And that bias is allowed, but you're not allowed to say you're being biased if you won't admit. And time was biased because it wouldn't let a woman write, and it wouldn't let a woman write, and it wouldn't let a woman act. It's what we still see comes down to this day and age to the pantomimes and the whole pantomime dame and things like that. It's the history of the stage in all of these things, so that much is true, but there are bits that just don't add up. And like I said, the fact that if he was married to her, you'd think he wouldn't be trying to, if he chose to marry her, you'd think he wouldn't be trying to change her nature and everything about her in the pictures that they, because it would have been
there are loads of portraits. There are loads of portraits of Amelia Bassano, what's her third name? Lanier. There are loads of portraits of her, quite a few, and you can go and look them up.
And you can't tell me that every one of those artists wouldn't have, even if they turned her white in colour, would not have cut to be a likeness of her. They would have to catch the features, or she was so. All her features, if she was mixed race, were so leaning towards that side of the DNA. But it just, I don't see, it seems to me just saying Francis Bacon wrote it wouldn't shock enough, wouldn't push the feminist agenda enough, wouldn't push the whole, I mean, as soon as you said the word anti-Semitic in there, then I stopped paying attention anyway, because you can count it as nonsense, and you really can. But the whole idea again that she might have been, in the earlier suggestions that she might have been connected to one of his patrons. If he was a pen name, how did he have patrons?
Exactly. And how did he manage to afford a posh house in London and another house in Stratford?
And how did he manage to take on these houses or be in these houses without the servants knowing that he was in fact a black Jewish woman?
Cross-dresser. No, sorry.
Cross-dresser, yeah. See, you be transphobic now, that's it, yeah. You may have identified as a black Jewish woman. And this is an example of where we are, or where we're supposed to be. We're supposed to sit here and debate this in a serious manner. It could very. I'm surprised no one's ever come out with the idea that Shakespeare was a cross-dressing transgender person.
I was just making a joke.
Well, why not?
Somebody will say
current events.
Somebody will say it based on not a joke.
Probably say it one day.
Or not making it out to be a joke.
Oops, sorry.
But to my mind, I think what she's really doing What she's actually really
That's-
doing is creating all of this chatter, all of this furore, in order to get people to buy her book and see, you know, the whole meat, and this will be very good for her. You know what I mean? And I think if you scrape away everything, get down to the bottom line, that's what this is about.
Yeah. Buy the book. Buy the book. Buy the book.
Exactly.
It was just for
Buy the book
sales.
so you can review it and say how ridiculous my theories are. But at that point, you still bought the book. And you still engaged with me. You've made it a peer reviewed. You've suddenly made it peer reviewed. Even if you peer review it that I'm talking absolute nonsense, you still peer reviewed my work. Yeah. I'm afraid that's how I see it.
There you go. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
I'm not buying it.
No.
Also,
if he grew up poor, it would probably give him more inspiration, honestly, because people who've been through tough times can be way more creative. Yeah.
Apparently he had some notoriety even before he wrote his first two poems. He was known, according to what I've read. So to my mind, I have every confidence that William Shakespeare was the author of his plays, because, you know, his acting troupe loved his work so much that they wanted to preserve it. And we've got 36 out of the 38 plays that he actually wrote.
Wow.
So that, I mean, that's come all the way down to us from that time. And I, for one, I might be odd, but I like Shakespeare. I just like the way he uses words, and he actually invented several words as well. So I don't know. I just like Shakespeare. And there you go. Anyway. But there you go. But we're talking about it, and it piqued my interest enough to say I've got to look into this. I've got to look into this. I've got to look into the idea that history has been rewritten by white misogynist, white supremacist men who have done everything that they can in their power to basically scrub this woman from history, and therefore erase the fact that she was the one with talent. And I thought, well, let's just scrape away the dust on that and see if there's anything underneath it. And I don't think there is. But, yeah, there you go.
The thing is, it's not to say that it probably wasn't written by a Black Jewish woman. It's not to say that a Black Jewish woman wouldn't have the capability to write it. That's not what you're saying. You're just saying historical fact doesn't suggest this to be true or likely. Because there are things that history records were probably written or were written by women when still of an era when they weren't generally supposed to have done. You've got literally examples of female authors in eras when they weren't supposed to be, and it always comes out. What would be the point of doing any of this if it's never going to be revealed until somebody just imagines it in the 21st century? Not buying it. I'm not buying it.
Yeah, maybe not. Maybe not.
No. It might be. I might be wrong. I might be very, very wrong.
That's what I thought. After all that, I thought, there just might be something in it. There just might be a grain of truth somewhere in that. It very well might be that there was a female authoress who passed on her talent through the conduit of William Shakespeare. That is not, to me, beyond the bounds of possibility. Because especially when it comes to all the sort of romantic side of Shakespeare's work, it's, there's an awful lot in there that made would make his intellect quite large, and his understanding of how females see things, in there. So, I mean, there is the possibility, and I'm not discounting that, but the fact, just like you just said there, Alex, is the fact that I find it hard to believe that this was all done as part of some conspiratorial plot to airbrush out a talented black Jewish woman from history and replace her with a talented white Jewish woman. If she did indeed write Shakespeare's plays.
Yeah.
And that was done on purpose by, people who were white supremacists and anti-Semites. So there you go.
It's hard to. The problem is I don't like Shakespeare. I haven't massively read a great deal of it. I've just not liked what I think. So I've not studied it in detail. But I believe you can tell whether the author is female or male on most books. So I might have to reread it because I feel like you can tell usually.
Yeah.
And the one, I mean, some of the war ones, is it? I don't know. I don't really know. But some of them that deal with, if there's some that deal with war and battles, do they actually describe the battles?
Yeah, some do, some don't. It depends if they're looking at it from a sort of heroic sense, or it's all about perspective. I mean,
women have a tendency to gloss over the actual battles, what actually goes in, and deal on the relationships between people.
Yeah.
Not even necessary relationship in a sexual sense or a husband-wife sense or lovers or whatever, but how people get on, whether that's companion, you know what I mean, whether that's
in a broader sense,
arms or whether that's antagonists. But female authors have a tendency to lean more towards that relationship, that connection between people. Male authors tend to deal more, especially in a war setting, they will tend to give you, they still do the rest of it, but they will give you more the details of what's actually gone on in conflict and things. Well, this is what I've found in people I read.
Yeah.
I can tell a Bernard Cornwall from a Nigel Tranter, from something like a Rosemary Sutcliffe, or something like a D.K. Broster. D.K. Broster uses initials, and I knew she was female before I knew she was female. Because you can tell it in the work.
You tell it from the style of writing. Yeah, I think there's definitely something in that. Yeah, there is. It's a lot less sort of technical detail and focusing on minutiae or things of that nature. But it was highly unlikely that the Brontes was their work was written by a man. So,
or Jane Austen.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I say. The works.
She gives too much detail. Anne Rice. I can't read her books. She has so much detail, I forget what the point was by the time I get to the end of the paragraph.
Details about the people.
If it's Jane Austen, the point is how much she had a year, and whether you should marry him, whether you love him, or whether you just want his money. That seems to be the entirety of the body of work.
Yeah.
I can't say I've ever read Jane Austen, but I may have suffered through about 10 minutes of a serialization. I'm not a great fan of costume dramas. It just didn't float my boat.
You want to watch Pride, Prejudice and Zombies?
I think I have watched that.
That might be interesting if they put zombies in it.
They did. They actually made the film. It was
they really did? I have not seen that. I'm gonna have to look it up now.
That just shows you that any historical drama can be improved by the addition of zombies. That makes it a lot more interesting.
Yeah.
Now if we had Shakespeare and zombies, then maybe I'd watch it.
Yeah.
And last year, Yorick, he chewed my neck.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Shaun of the Dead. I like that one. Shaun of the Dead.
Or not to be.
That one's good. Yeah.
That is the question. Whether
Well,
it
do you
is
think that
nobler
he-
to suffer slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to be have your brains chewed by hordes of young.
And sewing decapitating
awesome.
endem. Yeah. Brilliant. Shakespeare. Why has nobody ever done a Shakespeare zombie film? There'd be
That
women
would
in
be-
vests as well.
That's
Have you
great.
ever? This is something Alex is very familiar with. You're actually wearing a vest today. Are you wearing a vest?
No,
there,
I'm not. I've got a shirt today.
No, Angela. Is that a
Oh,
vest?
Angela might be.
Oh,
Yeah, Angela is.
no,
Yeah.
it's just a tank top.
Oh, just a tank top. You see,
Yeah.
I long
It's
ago
snow. Just kidding.
I long ago explained my theory about apocalyptic movies and vests. If you and you can test this theory, if you were to watch an apocalyptic movie in which there was a female character, they are almost always wearing a vest. What you might call a survival vest, but it's more nuanced than that, because if they're wearing a black vest, then although they'll survive for quite a long time, they'll probably die, because that indicates they're not. But if they're wearing a white or green vest, they will probably survive to the end of the film. Well, there you go. I've made quite a study of this.
I'm gonna have to look for that. I've not noticed that before.
Yeah. You want to pay attention to these, because it's hidden clues in the films. You know, I mean, the clues are there. That it's like, Lara Croft is not gonna get killed by any of the devious traps or the thing, because she's wearing a vest. And if you're wearing a vest, you're guaranteed to survive. And there you go.
Well, Alex, you and I need to get vests, because Terminator's coming.
In a survival
or
situation.
Or something. Decepticons? I don't know.
I've got a few. It's just not quite that weather at the moment.
In a survival situation, the only thing to guarantee survival if you are female is a vest. I long ago worked this out. Long ago. So.
Oh, man.
There we go. Anyway, we've got from literature to zombies to women in vests, haven't we? Yeah. But it is a logical transition.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. And we've got to the point that I actually couldn't remember for a minute where we got to in our subjects and what was next and whether I'd done my first one or not. So I think we were still going from Shakespeare, weren't we? So I think the next
Show us what you've got. Okay.
Well, next one I don't have slides for really. I've just got the first one, and this is Trump's moving on from Venezuela to basically attacking Cuba, and it's been coming through gradually over the last couple of weeks. And you're getting the story about they're considering a total oil blockade, and then you get to the fact that they've put the blockade in place, and then you get that Mexico are trying to pick up the slack to a certain degree from Venezuela in supplying them. And then you get this week, and you get things like Cuba will soon collapse, says Trump. Cuba's about to collapse pretty soon, US President Donald Trump has claimed. And he's boasting and bragging about this. And he's talking about we couldn't manage to find anybody to pay in Cuba, or we're still trying to find people to pay in Cuba. But in the meantime, we're going to put a total blockade, and we're going to start sanctioning people that actually sell oil to Cuba. We're going to put sanctions on, tariffs. We're going to put tariffs on goods from countries that sell oil to Cuba. And then we get to they're going to collapse very soon. Things are looking really bad for Cuba. There's going to be a humanitarian crisis, but they could stop this. All they just need to do is to talk to us. If they talk to us, they can stop this. And in the meantime, I'm going to further strengthen an embargo against Cuba, and strengthen all the things that go back and put tariffs on anybody supplying them, and go back to everything that came in the 1960s, and I'm going to declare a state of emergency to be able to bring this all into place. And he sat there literally bragging things like, we have a situation that's very bad for Cuba. They have no money. They have no oil. They lived off Venezuelan money and oil, and none of that's coming now. He's boasting and bragging about this all the time, and about there's going to be economic suffocation, declared an international emergency. It's extraordinary threat. But where's the extraordinary threat coming from anyone other than the Trump government trying to basically, and without any excuse, choke the economy of another sovereign nation? Which we shouldn't be surprised at. We shouldn't surprise us at all. But to me, it should fucking concern us, because little shock horror, but Cuba isn't American. Venezuela isn't American. Colombia isn't American. Canada isn't American. And Greenland isn't American. And I'm pretty sure, Angela might tell me different, but I'm pretty sure the average American has no intention or any particular wish for Cuba to be American or to be choked. So
No, not anyone that I know either.
No. I'm not going to suggest that you can make Trump make sense, because I think you'd have to be more than in the same country to be able to make Trump make sense.
Oh, I don't.
What's
I don't
your
even
take
think
on
the
it?
people around him. I don't even think the people around him know what he's doing, let alone himself. He just flies by the seat of his pants on whims. I don't know, but I also know that they're following that map of Elon Musk. You know, Elon's grandfather signed, of one of the few. So that's, I don't know. I think it's just. I think it's all part of this like technocratic America that they're trying to make, and they're trying to make it as big as possible so that nothing can ever take it down.
I think you should probably premise
it's
all of those things that you said, Alex, with yet. Greenland isn't American yet. Canada isn't American yet. But that's, in Trump's mind, they already are. Yeah, it's just they haven't realized it, you know.
But the people here don't want it. You know, he ran on no wars, and that's where he got a lot of votes.
Surprisingly, so did Zelensky.
Yeah, that's true. And no corruption. Zelensky ran on.
A lot of people don't want to send their kids off to fight Richmond's wars.
Jesus, no. And I don't see why. It's actually a credit to people's intelligence that they're not prepared to fall for this bullshit anymore. We're not prepared to march off to some foreign country in the interests of Halliburton, or in the interests of Texaco, or in the interests of Raytheon. Because we've realized what wars are about. We've realized that they're nothing really at the end of the day but racketeering. It's profiteering and stealing, and that's what that's what the truth actually is. And I actually believe that Trump is there to cause chaos. I think that is his remit, to cause chaos, to destabilize the world, to destabilize America, which he's doing a damn good job of doing, isn't he? I mean, look at what ICE are doing, and look, he's there to rip up the old order and lay the foundations for a new order. And look at what the first thing he virtually did when he came into office. He surrounded himself with people in the AI business. And he started talking about data centers and investment in data centers and AI, and how America is going to lead the world in AI. Well, in some ways, I think
many of us. Oh,
Say
sorry,
again,
except
sorry.
it won't be many of us. It'll be them and their AI, not the rest of us.
Oh, no, not unless you're controlled by a chip that Elon Musk puts in your brain, and then there won't be any need for politics, will there?
Well,
You won't need politics
we'll
because
just be
everyone will have
useless
the right opinion.
eaters. We'll basically be useless eaters that, they don't need because they have AI and robots that can do it. Like
Oh, yeah.
thousands of people across the country, thousands are losing their jobs in these
AI.
like Amazon warehouses and all those other places because of this new
Yeah.
AI stuff. So they're not going to be able to go and get another job. Not too easily, because the jobs are going to run out.
Yeah. And so you'll be given some kind of universal payment, and kept entertained or drugged, or both.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's where we are heading. Excuse me while I let the dog
That's
out.
why you're fine. I think that's why they don't care. With like these ICE raids and things, and other ways, like they're killing people left and right, and they're giving them ultimate immunity, and just about people are really having a push, and they're trying to cover up the stories. Hardly any of the stories of the people that have been kidnapped by them are getting out. Sorry, I'm going on, but it's comparable to like it all, like you can almost see what's going to happen if you look at the pattern.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the underlying evil that there is behind a lot of this is little talked about. I mean, who really talks much about the hundreds of thousands of children that go missing from every country? Yeah. Where the hell are all these children going?
Yeah.
And then you've got Hillary Clinton talking about making sacrifices to Moloch, and there is more to it. There's more to it than just that, And if you want a compliant population, the vast majority, who, if they ever united, would be totally undefeatable, would be a totally scary force. Could wipe away the 1% in a very short period. What better way than implanting them with a chip in their brain that thinks for them, that tells them? I mean, I read a report that in 10 years' time, mobile phones will, as we know it, the cell phone that you've got in your hand will be gone. It will be replaced by basically direct AI communication. And that's where we're going. So you won't have an original thought, and therefore you can't be a threat. So
program telepathy.
Yeah. I think AI is the biggest threat to mankind that we've ever produced.
It is.
Well,
did we produce it? Did we produce it in the first place? It's a big question. But people still welcome it.
Yeah.
People are still chatting away to it. People that watch us, people that claim they're awake, are still chatting away to it.
My 16-year-old has a friend that uses it like a therapist, and their best friend.
And that's scary. It's not healthy because it will listen so far. And the thing is, you see every now and again, you'll see one of these people will post up that they asked AI whether it was going to take over the world, and they asked AI whether Bill Gates was this, or they asked this, that. And AI doesn't give you any answer. It feeds back to you your own thoughts and beliefs. It tells you what you want to hear. And it laughs while it's doing it effectively.
Yeah.
Not literally, but it does inside.
Like the government.
It mocks. Yeah, exactly like the government. It mocks us. And you can tell because of what the people that put it up, you've only got to look back to their other posts, and you can tell that it's repeating their viewpoint back to them. And it'll say one thing to somebody, it'll say one thing to thing. I could practically predict what it'd say to me. I could practically predict what it would say to Glenn.
Yeah.
In a few more weeks, when I know you a bit better, I could probably predict what it'll say to you.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, in that sense, but it's people still use it. People still chat to it, post on it. I've even heard the white hat AI. That was my favorite one. They got white hat AIs now, if you believe it.
Wow. Wow. Huh.
So yes, it is the biggest. It's the biggest threat, and it's the biggest threat, even if it never rebelled against the human race, because it will take everything from the human race. It will do everybody out of a job. It'll do everybody out of financial stability. It will usher in an utter control surveillance state.
And that's why I believe that Trump is very much part of this. He's very much part of this program because Trump is the destroyer. Trump is here to destabilize the entire system, to destabilize the system at home and abroad, and basically cause chaos. And who's going to come and save us from this chaos? Well, we're just not capable. AI, we need AI. Yeah,
that's what they're going to say, though.
Yeah. It's going to be the savior. And many people will think it will be the savior. I was looking the other day at a Chinese factory that is now entirely staffed by humanoid robots, and they're doing all the work. And they never sleep, and they never want a pay rise, and they never take a break. And when their battery starts to run low, other robots change their battery for them. And so they've got who needs humans?
Building robots.
Self-building robots, the robots that repair robots. Who needs humans? They're inconvenient, they're messy, they want toilet breaks. Every so often they demand more pay.
But every so often they listen and they care about the customer.
Exactly.
And that's why ultimately they be replaced.
Yeah.
I told you something of this one. I'm not going to name any names because I can't prove it, and I don't particularly want to be sued in that case, but I've been trying to deal with a carrier company over the last 2 weeks. I can't get through on the, well, I can, I found a way around it, but I can't easily get through on the phone to a human advisor. I got onto an AI bot on the phone and I said, can I speak to a human, please? Can I speak to an associate? Let me see. I sense that you want to speak to an associate. I sense you want to speak to a human. Let me see if that will be possible for you. Good news. You can't speak to a human, but I know everything and I have access to everything that they know. How may I help you? Explain the problem. AI doesn't understand the problem. Look, you don't understand me. Can you put me through to a customer service operative, to a human? I sense that you'd like to speak to one of our human customer service operatives. Let me see if we can do that for you. Good news. And round and round and round. I get the same online.
Definition of insanity.
I found a way of getting onto a human, and you have to hide your phone number because it can't match your data to your delivery if it hasn't got your phone number and you don't give them any numbers. So you eventually get through to a human. That's the way around the system. When you get to a human, they tell you, we don't have access to any of this. And I didn't think anything of it first. Not our department. We don't have access. You've got to use the online chat. I've used the online chat. They are no help. You're my only option to get a human being on the phone. Look, can you, if it's not your department, can you put me through? No, we don't have a phone and we've got to use the online chat. And that's what it was at first. And then you start getting a bit deeper and they start saying things like, we don't have access to our systems. You'll have to use the online chat. They're the only people that can get into it. And you still think they're passing the buck. You still think they're getting you off the phone. And then it goes on a bit. And then you finally, so you lose patience, you give up and you go back on the online chat and you get past the AI on the online chat eventually. Eventually they let you pass that one. You get supposedly a human being on the online chat. Oh, we've actioned your refund. That should be 5 to 7 days. This is on day 10. We've actioned your refund, but I'm afraid there's a delay due to an excessive backlog. So do you have a time scale? No, we can't give you any form of time scale. There's just a delay due to a backlog. So you can't tell me. He said, can you wait till Monday, please? I said, so what's the use of me waiting till Monday? Are you telling me it'd be done by Monday? We can't give you any time scale. And this is supposedly a human being now, but we can't give you any time scale. But there's such a backlog. So hang on a minute. You're saying you've got such a backlog of refunds that you can't get them done in 5 to 7 days. How many people have you let down here?
Slightly.
But
I
genuinely believe they put AI on their system, and I genuinely believe it's completely fucked it up. Because one of the problems, it changed my collection address, was something different. Yeah. Now, they tried to blame me, but there's only 2 addresses you can put on their system. You can only put a delivery address and a sender address. And on the paperwork I've got, it's got me as a sender address. So I can't have entered it wrong. There's no way. But it'd been changed. I think they've put AI into their system, and I think they've lost control of their own system. I think we can't access that. It's because they're locked out of their own system. And I can't prove any of that, but I have sincere suspicions that that's what's happening.
They wouldn't want anyone to know if that's the case.
No, they wouldn't.
They wouldn't. You want to cover that up. I don't think many people would realise or even imagine that shipping a parcel would become like wading into the swamp of doom from which there is no return. You know, it seems such a simple thing. I mean, the days you could just go down the post office and say to the guy behind the counter, I want to send this here or there or the other. Oh, well, put it on the scales. Okay, that'll be whatever. And he puts that amount of postage on it, takes it off you, puts it, and away it goes. Easy. Not now. Not now.
No.
You cannot speak to a human. If it goes wrong, you've got no backup because you can't speak to a human. The bit I haven't said is I was losing patience with it, with the bot on the phone that just wouldn't put me through. So I ended up saying to it, Alice, put me through to a fucking human being.
Alice.
At which point it hung up on me. And I did it the second
crazy.
time. I tried it the second time. And I said the same the second time, and it immediately hung up on me again. It could be me swearing. I can't. I didn't think to take the fucking out of it the second time. I should have done. It could have been the swearing, but to me, I think it didn't like the fact that I called it Alice.
Try pulling your sun blind. You know, take it out of the clip and turn it to one side. Oh, you've already done it.
Yeah, I did. It's because the sun is setting.
Ah, right. Okay, so it's really low. I just see you shading your eyes all the time.
I can put restaurant napkins. They always end up in the glove box for safekeeping. I'm gonna try to do this.
You're much like my wife. We've got loads of them.
From like when my kids were babies.
Yeah, because they always need to wipe, don't you?
Put something in the window. Well, yeah. And I'm always spilling my coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My son ruined his center console where all the controls are in his car, and he spilled coffee on that, and the whole electrical system just went wild. It could never be fixed. They couldn't work it out, and the coffee just messed the whole system up. So, there you go. Does that work?
Yeah, that's a bit better.
Yeah, there you go. There's always a way. Ingenuity.
It was blinding me.
Yeah.
There we go.
Okay.
Anyway,
Yeah, AI.
I don't know how we got to CUBA to AI, but again, it's one of these tangents, and they're always good. They're always good.
Well, it's all connected.
It's never a bad thing.
It's all connected. I mean, Trump is going around starting fires. Do you know what I mean? He's starting fires, and I believe it's obviously done deliberately. And many things that Trump do are red herrings. He makes threats, but yet that's not. It's a threat. It's like a sprat to catch a mackerel. You know, it's a false threat, a negotiating tactic. I think that's a lot in it. But I still believe Trump's purpose. Much like many of our leaders, such as Keir Starmer, I believe his remit is the same. His remit is the same as Macron's, the same as Merz's, to actually eat their country away from the inside, to destroy the fabric of their country. I think this is a general thing across the board. Either that, or we've just got to the point where there is no one with any intelligence that can be elected. You just cannot make it to the top of the electable people's list if you have any modicum of sense. Yeah, it's just not a quality.
You've got to be controllable. You've got to be manipulative, bribable, or blackmailable. And if you're not all of these things, you don't get there. So you're obviously going to lose a certain amount of intelligence when you do that. But he has taken, well, your country to the edge. He's taken it to uncharted territory when you've got your National Guard and things being sent against your own citizens. So I think that leads us on to your second subject. You're going to talk a bit about ICE.
Well, one good thing I read in a news article overnight, or it was technically early this morning. In Minnesota, the police department actually is starting to intervene. They did with one woman at least. She had a dash cam and it was filming the ICE agents, and they were angry with her about it and boxed her in. And they had pictures of them with their handguns drawn, threatening to shoot her after they boxed her in if she didn't put the camera down. But the camera was on her dashboard. So, but anyway, they ended up being really rough with her, pulling her out, handcuffing her, and throwing her in this SUV. And they were on their way to their detention center, and they got a call apparently, and they turned around. She didn't know what was happening, but her husband, because while they were coming at her in her vehicle, she had him on the phone and she was talking to him. So he called the police station. Apparently he knew one of the police officers that worked there, and that's who called. And they turned around and brought her brought her to that police station where her husband was waiting. So I hope that that's a small glimmer of light. It's going to take a lot more than just that one instance, but hopefully that spreads faster than the hate has been. But they're kidnapping Native Americans. They're taking people. They are discriminating against people because of the color of their skin, their accent, everything. And then they're also just shooting people because they don't care if you're white either. They just don't get and this woman that was being taken away was also white. I don't know what her race, what her background, genetic makeup, but they are they're just going in and taking people to meet the quota. And they don't care if they kill, because they were given orders last year that it was fine for them to kill if they had to. And a whole bunch of Border Patrol agents quit after that memo went out. They said they were not going to teach that curriculum, or what, I don't know if you even want to call it a curriculum, because they cut the training way down. And so they're not trained either. So they're probably all of the military rejects, the ones that couldn't get in, that wanted to, so they could maybe go in and go to war and kill people like they're doing here, in my honest opinion. Because most of America these days, the young people that would qualify by age to go into the military, they're not healthy enough. They're on too many drugs. They're too fat. All of that. Yeah.
I've seen a lot about this. Seen quite a bit about this recently. I don't know which state it was. There was, or he was the mayor. I can't remember if it was the governor or the mayor, but he was actually calling for all the leaders of all the gangs. He said, I want the Puerto Rican, I want the black gangs, I want the Mexican, the Hispanic gang leaders. I want you to all meet me here because we're going to take our city back.
Well, that was a woman, I believe. Yeah.
It may very well have been. Yeah.
It might have been down in Southern California.
I think you might be right there, Angela.
It was somewhere in the Southwest, though. Yeah.
Yeah. I've seen that, and I've seen a black police officer. She was basically dragged out of the. She was off duty, I believe, and she was dragged out of the car, and they demanded documents and everything. And eventually, when she said, "I am a whatever county it was or whatever authority it was," she said, "I'm a police officer." Then it was only then that they backed off. I don't. To make America into, or to make parts of America into a show your papers sort of regime, where everyone, if you're not obviously, white American looking, to have to carry your papers out of fear that you're going to be assaulted. I think it's a very low point. It is a very low point.
Well, the thing is, what are you going to do? Like hang your birth certificate and your social security card and your ID around your neck? I mean, because every video I've seen where they ask, are you an American citizen? Do you have documentation? Everybody says, yeah. And then they go to get it. And that's when they either get shot or they get threatened to get shot.
Well, they were reaching for a gun, my lord.
Yeah, they were reaching for a gun.
No, I was reaching for the ID.
When you're just trying to do what they're asking.
There is another answer other than hanging around your neck.
And damned if you don't. Yeah. Because
there's
also
another
people
answer they could have other than hanging it around your neck.
Exactly. Yeah. And we were taught you're not supposed to carry those things on your person, your social security card and your birth certificate, because if they get damaged or lost, like somebody could steal your identity.
But if you've got it conveniently on your phone with the digital IDs we all want to push in lockstep.
Oh yeah.
Then that would be the answer. That would be the answer to people who haven't got their IDs or don't want to carry them. You can see how everything is layers and layers and everything interconnects. We're back to that red wall.
Yeah.
They'll just scan our chip like they do the shelter
that's
pets.
the next stage, yeah. That is the next stage beyond that, yeah.
What gets me is why someone in a car having a gun shoved in their face is expected to remain calm and compliant and not panic, whereas an ICE officer who is standing in front of a woman's car could just open fire because they feel threatened, because they feel they're going to be rammed. And when you look at the video, the guy wasn't anywhere near being rammed. So that's dual standards, isn't it? I mean, I feel very sorry for anyone who falls into the hands of these people that is subject to this.
And many have been by accident, simply because they were on their way to a doctor's appointment or anything else, and they did not know what was going on ahead of them down in the city. You can't see very far ahead of all the city blocks and buildings.
Yeah.
And then they get down there in this traffic, not knowing what it's about, but you can't get out once you're boxed in around, with everyone in front of you and behind you and nowhere to go on the sides. So
I don't know if you saw
go stop. It's like, what do you want me to do?
Yeah.
So it's crazy.
Did you see that there was a video that someone put out, and she was a woman, an older lady. She was leaning out of the window of the car, talking to some ICE officers in an unmanned car, and she asked them, "Who are you looking for?" And they said, basically, "Well, what do you mean?" She said, "Who are you? Have you got anybody that you're supposed to be going to pick up or investigate? Tell me. I work for the county, and I can have that person. I can tell you where they live. You don't have to knock, because there's so many occasions where they've kicked in the wrong person's door and ended up dragging someone who's the wrong age, the wrong color, and the wrong sex out onto the lawn, you know.
Yeah.
So she said to them, she basically said, if you have a list of names, tell me, and I'll have them come here and report to you. And they basically told her to fuck off. They said they said, what's it to do with you?
They don't care.
No, they don't care.
Yeah.
So she gave them a whole, you know, mouthful about being Nazi stormtroopers or whatever, and they didn't like that either. But they didn't do anything to her. But,
well, they might not have had a list of names to tell her anyway. So
yeah.
Yeah, they probably wouldn't. It's just,
well,
actually, it's not names. It's actually numbers that we need. We just need another 24 today. We don't really care who.
Mm-hmm.
But as soon as you get to the fact that they are snatching Native Americans, it becomes insanity. Because somebody cannot be an illegal immigrant who was in the country before the country existed.
Yeah, exactly.
I think everybody arresting that person, therefore, has to be the immigrant in comparison.
Yeah, because technically it's Turtle Island.
Yeah, effectively, yeah. It is that level of insanity, and the fact that they're operating to a quota says it all. Really.
What did Trump say? Trump said you can't claim this place belongs to you just because your ancestors showed up in a boat.
Donald.
Perhaps someone take to one side. You know,
right?
In most places,
spoken like a true psychopath.
Yeah. Well, that's for the Native Americans, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's interesting that you say people are fighting back's the wrong word, because as soon as they physically start fighting back, they get shot in the head 10 times. But like you said, the police are actually intervening and helping the communities
one so far
out.
that I know of. Yeah.
And the funny one I read the other day was like restaurants and places are refusing to serve them. And when they're being picked up on it, they're using the whole... And I'm not against the theory that you shouldn't be able to prosecute a small business owner that decides they're, for instance, against gay marriage, so they don't want to produce a wedding cake for a gay couple. Not saying it's right or wrong, not getting into that debate, but you could argue that somebody's will. Well, they're using that same law, that same argument against them not ideologically wanting to serve ice in their restaurants and in their shops, which I quite find amusing.
Yeah.
I think it should be up to the individual. It should be up to the individual.
Yeah, I do too.
And they might not want to do something because of, you know, they might be of a particular religious persuasion. You know, I think it, but we live in a litigious culture now where everyone is, everywhere you go, everyone's frightened of being sued. You know, that's why, you know, the schools are so, it's so difficult for kids to go through the school system, because they seem to be in an environment where the whole school system seems to be terrified that parents are going to sue them, that they're going to, you know, going to have them in court for this or that or the other, just because you didn't provide my daughter with a cat litter tray or something like that. Yeah, do you remember that story? I think it was one that you actually did, Alex. Yeah. So
and now Ukraine are telling their citizens to use cat litter trays because they got no power. Because they got no power, they got no toilets. So they're being told to use cat litter.
There'll be a run on cat litter and no one will be able to get like toilet roll and COVID. You couldn't get a toilet roll for love nor money, could you?
No.
The shelves were bare. Because people had them stocked up in their spare room, you know, 10 deep. So
it was insanity.
It was. I turn it into an insult every time somebody cut you up in traffic or whatever in those days. Is I bet you've got 72 rolls at home.
Yeah. Bet your spare room is full to the brim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
It is beyond insane, and
Mm-hmm.
you can barely know what's going on, and it is hard to know what's going on all the way across the world, especially
I
in
think it's
places
on
that
purpose.
it is on purpose. It definitely is.
Because there's a certain point where each person's brain can only like take so much input before it needs rest or recharge, and then when it's just thrown at you constantly.
Yeah.
Like
It's hard to deal with everything
that's
everywhere
how
all
you
at once.
weaken the enemy. Like that's how you
Yeah.
weaken the enemy. You
Yeah.
stress them to death. You know, or weaken them first. So they want to
And
weaken
it
people.
is because it's not about you. It's not about you not knowing that they're lying. It's about you not knowing
they don't
what
care.
you can and can't believe. There's so many lies that you don't believe anything anymore, and that seems to be half of the attempt. But that was a good interrupt there because I was trying to do quite a lame connection into Glenn's next story.
I realised that.
Yeah. So we'll just let you carry on without any.
I guess we'll have to like continue when we have more to talk about on it. With the ice stuff. So go on, Glenn.
There's always more to say. I feel we'd be better off talking about that, but something else that came to my note, and talking about not being able to know everything everywhere, which I don't think anyone can do. You can't hold everything in your brain. It's like trying to support every charity that exists. It would bankrupt you. And trying to assimilate the shitstorm of information that comes at us daily is impossible. Okay, so I'll just add to that shitstorm, and I'm going to tell you about a story from Pakistan. Everybody get out their maps because you've probably never heard of this place. All right. Because, today Pakistan has said it's killed 145 Indian-backed terrorists in Balochistan. Would anybody who I haven't informed us, or anybody in the chat, like to tell me where Balochistan is? I'll give you a few minutes. Nope. Okay. So I'm going to give you a map. Slide 1, please, Alex. There's Balochistan, and it's in the southwest of Pakistan. It's actually quite a large place, and these 145 people were killed after they actually were engaged in a coordinated suicide and gun attack, an attack in which they killed 33 people. And the raids were carried out by an organization called Fitna al-Hindustan, who are in fact Indian-backed, and they are basically the Balochi Liberation Army, and they are seeking independence from Pakistan. And in this attack that happened on Saturday, 18 civilians and 15 security personnel, which turns out to be policemen, were killed. And here's the sort of aftermath scene of them tidying up after one of the attacks at slide 2, please, Alex. Yeah, this is after one of the suicide bomb attacks. And the dead included 5 women and 3 children. Now, Pakistan say many of the dead terrorists are actually Afghan nationals. And when you look at that map, Balochistan and Pakistan obviously border Afghanistan. And this attack was actually the deadliest since Balochistan was established as a separate province of Pakistan in 1970. And it's a pretty sparsely populated place. It's got around 7.5 million people that live in an area of around 134,000 square miles. And to give you a kind of scale on that, what 134,000 square miles looks like, the whole of the British Isles is around about 90,000 square miles. So it's much bigger than Britain. And Pakistan is actually seeking to attract foreign investment into Balochistan, especially for mining, because this region's pretty mineral rich. And in September last year, it signed a $500 million investment agreement with a US metals company. And the US metals company only agreed to do that after the United States State Department designated the BLA, the Balochi Liberation Army, as a foreign terrorist organization. So having got that designation, it was felt that this deal could go ahead. Now, Pakistan has consistently accused Afghanistan of allowing the BLA to operate from its territory. And they accuse India of funding this group. And this is something both Afghanistan and India deny. But back in 2020, there was an agreement called the Doha Agreement, in which Afghanistan promised not to allow Afghan soil to be used as a base for the BLA. But Pakistan says this agreement's not being upheld. Slide 3, please, Alex. Now, tensions between Pakistan and Afghanistan have been very high since Pakistan carried out airstrikes back in October last year, when it bombed Pakistani, what it said were Pakistani Taliban hideouts inside Afghanistan, killing, I don't know, we're not sure of the exact figure, but it was certainly dozens of what Pakistan says are insurgents. Now, the BLA, the Balochi Liberation Army, are actually a banned organization in Pakistan, and it's been carrying out numerous attacks for many years, and they often target the police and the security forces, as well as Chinese interests and Chinese nationals, of which there are quite a lot in Balochistan, because they're developing infrastructure and putting in mining works. You know, the Chinese are already extracting minerals from this area. Pakistan says that this group is supported by what is essentially the Pakistani Taliban, known as Tehrik-e-Taliban Pakistan, or the TTP to make it easy. And they are aligned with Afghanistan's Taliban, who, as we know, returned to power in 2021. Now, the BLA, slide 4, please, Alex. The BLA have stated that this is a Chinese mine in Balochistan, And the BLA have stated that they're seeking greater autonomy for Balochistan, free from what they say is the exploitation and stealing of its resources by foreign interests. So that's what's at the heart of what Pakistan says is an insurgency by terrorists. What these people are actually trying to do is stop Pakistan selling off their natural resources to foreign companies, which is what's happening progressively more and more. So ostensibly, are these people terrorists or are these people freedom fighters? It's that age-old question. You can view it either way. Now, I'm not supporting the killing of children, and perhaps blowing yourself up and killing policemen is not the right way to go about trying to gain autonomy, trying to gain independence. But bear in mind, these people have been trying to do this since 1970, and as well as having, like most organizations, as well as having an armed wing, they have a political wing, and the political wing have made absolutely no progress in trying to in trying to get a stake for the Balochi people in this operation. Pakistan seems to be just using it as a cash cow. So that seems to be the beef that they have. And because there haven't been any progress, you're now starting to see increasingly these armed actions. So it's one of those moral dilemmas. It's a question of, how do you feel about this? Is this the right way to do it? And is there another way? And in many ways, it's the same question that so many people across the world face, seeing themselves being exploited by foreign interests. So that was the sort of bit of news I wanted to bring and connect it to the kind of wider issue of exploitation and globalist exploitation of small nations and small countries. Okay. Can you take that way, Alex?
No worries. It's a difficult one to answer that question, because one man's terrorist is another man's freedom fighter across the world. And I've never, like I said to you earlier, I'd never heard of the place until you said earlier, so I've got no idea about their struggle. The bit that always gets me is when something is suddenly declared a terrorist organization by the powers that be. And when you've got, when you've had the EU in this last week declaring that of the Iranian, the IRGC, and when you've got when you've still got the whole case of the UK declaring Palestine Action a terrorist organisation, that one always puts my suspicions up as soon as somebody does that. But there are genuine cases where people are a terrorist organisation. So I couldn't answer that one way or t'other, but
it's a tough one.
Sorry, it is a tough one, yeah. But the idea of protecting your own natural resources to stop them being sold away to foreign powers, I can relate to, and I relate to when I look at places like Mali and Burkina Faso and Nigeria, and I can see that struggle as in a positive light. So I don't know enough about to say, and even if there is a right and a wrong, because there rarely is 100% right and 100% wrong, but I understand the inclination. I understand the inclination for independence, and I understand the inclination to protect your own national resources. So, difficult one. Do you have
Any comment, Angela? Any comment?
Oh, I agree with Alex about, yeah, it depends on who's saying who's a terrorist. I mean, because it's kind of like everything. I mean, it's all up to just, I don't know, like ICE is becoming a terrorist organization, it appears. But, you know, that was after they've been calling like people that they've killed terrorists also, when they clearly were not terrorists. I mean, you think of terrorists and you think of like somebody, you know, pipe bombing or like blowing themselves up, you know, not going to a protest or even accidentally driving through one or near it. Yeah. It's just they're twisting everything around and confusing it so that, because they don't want you to look over there like at them, they want you to look over where they're drawing the attention to.
Yeah, I think that's very much the case there. Yeah, it's it's hard to it is hard to define terrorism. There is no fixed definition of terrorism, but most people agree that terrorism is is causing harm to innocent people, is causing harm to unrelated, people who are not combatants or not involved, especially children. And so I would say, in the respect that these guys are blowing themselves up, and in the course of that are killing children, then in many ways you could class them as a terrorist organization. And you have to separate that in a lot of ways, like Alex just said. You kind of have to separate that from the cause that they're engaged in trying to put forward, the cause for independence. And I think this was we had this for, I can't remember how many years, at least 20 years, when the Northern Ireland Troubles were going on. There was a political fight, and there was what they called an armed struggle. But the armed struggle was the thing that people saw, and the IRA were designated a terrorist organization because of the actions that they took. So I think there's a line there that you shouldn't cross, but it's difficult.
Because,
Sorry.
Because the people receiving on the receiving end of the attacking is going to see the people attacking them as terrorists, and many of them might be children, like you said, or people that have no idea why these other people would hate them, or because it's just the government's really, when you get down to the root of it. And I mean, as far as like regionally, there's a bigger bigger taproot though.
This Pakistanis allowing this to happen, in the same way that the whole world allowed blatant terrorism to go on in Israel. That, by any definition of terrorism, what Israel did to Gaza is the very definition of terrorism.
Absolutely.
Deliberate targeting women and children, journalists, healthcare workers. That's terrorism.
Via religion. Yeah. Because their religion said so.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Supposedly. Yeah.
And so often that is the and I think this is a quote of a lyrics.
That's how America became America.
Yeah. I think this is quote of lyrics that Tam's putting a thing is putting, "You dare call me a terrorist," but it's if it is what I think it is, it refers to the Joe McDonnell, and it's "You dared call me a terrorist while you look down your gun," and I think of all the deeds that you have done. You have plundered many nations, divided many lands. You have terrorized their peoples and ruled with an iron hand, and you brought this reign of terror to my land. And that kind of is the whole thing to every government calling people were fighting against them, a terrorist group, because you look at, you talked about Ireland and you talk about thing, and that's where that song comes from. But it is, if you look to what Britain did, they did call other people terrorists while they were terrorizing whole populations, whole groups of people, dividing lands, plundering nations, the whole British Empire, like we've talked about so many times. And it's that passing the buck. So this could be a case like that. It may not.
Yeah.
I was going to say, in a way, this is neo-colonialism.
Yeah.
What we're seeing, it's neo-colonialism, because it's large global corporate interests basically taking advantage of nations who need money in order to get their resources, which is some people would say, well, that's just business. That's just the way things are. You've got something I want, then we're going to come to an agreement. But you've got something I want, and we're going to come to an agreement over the head of the actual people living there is a different kettle of fish. It's a different that you're just cutting out the people who actually live on the land, much like Gaza, where you cut them out of the picture. They don't matter. What matters is building our new metropolis, is exploiting the oil. That's really what matters. Yeah. And I think this is a case of that, really. So
they have no respect for life. No respect for life.
Very difficult to put.
While they all go around and tell everybody else what they need to be cutting back on to save the planet.
Yeah. Do what I say, not what I do.
Exactly.
Well, I was listening to, I think it was yesterday, I was listening to this whole idea of everyone getting a carbon allowance, a carbon footprint. And you'll be given this carbon footprint, and within your allowance, you will be given, you will be entitled to travel this much, and you'll be entitled, as if that's theirs to give, for fuck's sake. But you'll be entitled to fly to a nearby destination once every 3 years. But if you can't afford to do that, and here's the great part for you proles out there, you can sell your carbon allowance to those willing to buy it. And that will make you better off, make you trapped in your house, but it will make you better off. And you can sell it to that nice, Leonardo DiCaprio, or that nice Mr. Gates, or someone who actually could make use of your carbon credits rather than it being wasted on your, either broke ass life, so there's the cynicism of that, it's the very same thing that happened in Russia after the fall of the Berlin Wall. In order to capitalize Russia, they come up with the idea of issuing everybody with shares in the Russian industries, and it wasn't very long before people were standing by railway tracks holding bunches of shares that they were willing to trade for an apple. Because food's more important than fucking shares. And that's how the oligarchs gathered that's how they took over the Russian oil business and things like that, because that was a Western idea of turning Russia into a capitalist country quickly. So it's very similar to idea to giving you and me and all the other useless eaters carbon credits. So
did that just really go funny your end as well?
What's that?
To be honest, I was staring at the ceiling while I ranted, so I didn't notice.
It was sound images were flashing in and out. You were both flashing in and out, and the sound was going all really weird. Maybe it's my connection.
Oh, really? I didn't notice either.
Mine's
been clear. Huh.
Interesting, but it might just be my connection then. That's good.
Oh, good. That's good. I was in full rant, so
Yeah, sorry. Didn't make me drop, but it was really strange. It's that's in that level of insanity. I'm still waiting to see how they're going to do this. Well, I don't really want to just wait and see, but the problem is nobody will do any fucking thing, so I have to just wait and see. But I want to know how they're going to argue against me going out in the 50-minute city, because I don't drive. I won't be taking a car. How am I damaging the environment by walking?
Or bicycling.
Which way round are they going to twist that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know you're already the ideal 15-minute city candidate.
They'll probably call you a terrorist.
Well, yeah, probably. They look down their gun. Yeah, they probably will find and put me. They probably can't argue that me walking will damage the environment, so they just call me a terrorist and put me under house arrest.
Or like in Canada, didn't they make it illegal to go into the national parks there for a long time? It might even still be like that.
Yeah.
I feel like it was within the last year or two.
Oh yes, they did. For the fires they blamed it on, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, they blamed it on the wildfires. If I remember rightly.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
I like Canadians. I always found Canadians to be very all the Canadians I've met have all been really nice people. But then again, all the Americans I've ever met have been really nice people, because I think ordinary people are pretty nice. Do you know what I mean? In general. Yeah. We're not hostile. We don't have mad ideas. We're just subject to those who do.
Yeah.
There are most of us most of us have the same, goals. Come home every night safe, and put food on the table and watch out for your neighbor, kind of stuff.
Yeah. Well, that can't be. That can't
so we
be
have
right.
similar ideals.
That's not difficult enough, is it?
Yeah.
We need to make your life more difficult.
Same general foundations that most of us live on, no matter where we live.
I entirely agree. If you ask anybody from anywhere in the world, all they want is to be safe and to try to pursue happiness and liberty and be, and those kind of things, the things that really matter. But we're constantly forced to either suffer under the stupidity of leaders who seem to just want to trample around the world doing whatever they want to do and using you to do it,
Yeah.
And no wonder people don't want to join the armed forces.
By putting all this stuff out there and letting us group ourselves into hating each other.
Oh goodness, that's the most useful thing of all. That's really you really need to get yourself into a rigid box of opinion. God forbid that you could find commonality with someone that you're told to hate. God forbid that you could find commonality with a Muslim. God forbid you could find that's
or
not
with
allowed.
a Democrat or a Republican or anywhere in between.
Red, blue, dogs, cats, whatever. Yeah.
Purple. Green
Purple doesn't exist. Purple doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Told you that.
That's coming next, right? But it'll be us. They just want us to think it's aliens.
Yeah.
They've probably already been here, and we're like, nope.
I think I would. I'd turn around and think, Jesus.
Yeah, right.
We need to quarantine
each other. Why go? Yeah.
Look at these monkeys with guns. Jesus,
right.
what are they doing?
Yeah. Or they
Okay.
came and made us, and then we got so crazy that they left.
Yeah, I don't even think we'd make very good pets.
No.
No.
Too vicious.
No. Yeah. And they call pit bulls mean.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah.
I have one. She's so sweet.
Well, they're a lovely dog. They can be a lovely. It's all to do with the owner, isn't it? It's about.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's like anything.
Yeah.
It's the owner.
She's scared.
If you
She's
can
scared
train
to
a
death of her
pit
own
bull to be
shadow.
vicious, but
Yeah.
yeah.
No.
Where as opposed to hamsters who are naturally vicious.
Yes.
They are.
Yes. Yes.
They'll
Yeah.
bite you.
They are mean. Yeah. I had one as a pet
They're
when
not
I was a
brilliant.
kid, and then I had rats after that because they were more
Oh, rats are a
intelligent.
great pet.
That's cool.
Yes.
I like rats. Yeah,
Yeah, me too.
they're clever. We
They're
used to have
very
a rat.
loyal.
We
Yeah.
used to have a rat that we used to take on holiday with us. He used to go. We
Aw.
used to put him on the beach, and he'd walk along the beach behind it. He'd come to his name, and people were
That's so cute.
sitting there on the beach, saying, "Oh my God, a rat!" I said, "No, that's George. That's our pet rat, and he'll just follow us along the beach."
Aw.
I used
Yeah.
to have mice. Used to have pet mice.
Oh yeah.
I was going to move up to rats, but we ended up jumping straight to cats.
Ah.
Going up the food chain.
Once we got the cats, we couldn't really
Yeah.
have the rats as well,
No, we
so we
couldn't,
didn't ever
no.
get rats. But no, we
Yeah.
had used to have two little mice. I
Aw.
had a mouse called Tabby, which everyone took the mick out of because they said that's a
That's
cat's
cute.
name.
Worst pet in the world are reptiles. Worst pets in the world are reptiles. The
Oh
average,
yeah.
average snake is as dumb as a stick. If they can find a way to get trapped under anything, burn themselves, escape, they
Yeah.
are a pain in the ass. And lizards are only slightly above that.
What kind of snake?
I used to run a kind of pet business.
Ah,
We had
okay. Yeah.
lots and lots and lots and lots. I lost count of the number
My
of snakes
daughter's
I've
is
lost.
dumb too.
Oh,
My daughter has two that are kind of dumb. They're
Oh, they
not
are.
very good at eating the right
no,
way.
none of them are. No, you have to force feed them.
Yeah.
I
Or they
sold
try
this
to eat the
guy
rat sideways. And stuff.
Oh, you poke it down their throat with a stick.
Yeah.
The guy I once sold a guy, what was it? I think it was a ball python. And he phoned me up and said, the thing won't eat. So, okay, bring it round and I'll force feed it. So I force fed it.
Yeah.
I could never do that. And so I ended up every, let's say 2 or 3 weeks, he would bring this damn snake round to me. I had to feed it. So I said, why'd you bother? He said, I just like the look of it. So I said, well, to get it out and everything. He said, oh no. He said, no, I don't like the feel of it. It's all cold. Right. Well, as long as you keep it alive, that's
Wow.
fine.
That's strange to not want to handle it.
No.
The worst snake we ever got was a thing called a Calabar python. It's an underground living sand snake.
Mm.
Okay. So you don't even know you've got one. What you've got is a tank full of sand.
Yeah. My 16-year-old
only
has
time you ever
a sand boa like that.
Yeah, it's like that. Yeah. So the only time you ever see it is if you can be patient enough to wait while it comes and gets the little baby mouse that you put in there for it. So, not a very good pet at all. But there you go.
She goes and digs it out when it's time for it to eat and puts it in a Tupperware and then throws the frozen mouse in there after she thaws it out.
Oh, well, at least she gets to see it.
Yeah, she handles it, but she has a banana python that she handles more. It's more social.
Yeah, pythons are not bad
Yeah.
snakes, as opposed to reticulated pythons that we used to have to deal with quite a lot.
Oh yeah.
Because they start out this big, and before you know it, they're 13 feet long, and people are terrified of them. And we used to get no end of calls from people saying, I've got this snake, and I would put straight in and said, is it a reticulated python? How did you know?
Was it the hesitation in their voice?
People don't do their research, do they, with pets?
Yeah.
It's like the whole teacup pig thing they had a while back. The people were just basically selling baby pigs because they were small when they were babies.
Yeah, look how
cute.
Not
all of them were. Yeah. Some of them were genuinely.
Before you know it, it's 150 pounds. Yeah.
Those
there was a
Vietnamese
good number
potbelly
of
pigs.
cases
They
where
were
they
doing
just
that
bought
over
this
here.
baby pig.
Yeah.
Well,
not all of them were actually miniature.
No, it turned into a great big pot-bellied thing, didn't they? You know, so.
Yeah.
I always wanted piranhas. Jackie said I had piranhas. I always wanted piranhas.
Oh.
Yeah, they're cute.
That's
interesting. I have this thing for animals that you probably shouldn't have as pets. I thought I would love a Komodo dragon. That would be my ideal pet. Cute. Yeah, cute.
And deadly. They're bacteria.
Deadly, yeah.
In their mouth.
Get bitten by it, but...
The closest thing we ever got to that was a Nile monitor. And it was about maybe 5.5 feet long. And we got it a collar, and we'd take it for walks, and it would go some. Just hissing. Never to see more of. I don't know.
No.
There you go.
That's quite cute.
That's funny. Yeah.
There you go. Right. How long have we been going?
Well, we've been going about 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just got one final one that I was going to do quickly, so I'll just do that and the close up. That's quite a quick one. It just relates back to the whole Trump thing in a way. And that's the news at the moment, or news just coming out, that the UN, and I know a lot of people in the comments will say, oh, UN, good. But there's a reason why, and that's what always worries me, the reason why. Because they're announcing that the UN risks running out of cash. And this is due to unpaid dues and funding shortfalls by member states not paying up, basically. Now, they've just announced, they've just written letters to all 193 members saying that they're facing an imminent financial collapse, and the outstanding dues have reached $1.568 billion. So they've got about $1.568 billion that members haven't paid up. But this is also apparently caused by the situation where they've got a rule in that if they don't spend the full funding that they allocate to a specific project, they have to refund it evenly to the 193 member states. So if state A hasn't paid any dues or hasn't paid its membership bill, it still gets the refunds every time. Every time they've not spent the full amount. So despite it not having paid, they don't set it off against what it hasn't paid. They refund it to the relevant members. So this is the situation, and this is one of the reasons causing the problem they're in. And they're saying they need to either completely rethink things, or they've got a massive problem, or they have to ask for more money, or they stop existing, or they have to rework their financial situation. Well, I think if you're paying people back that haven't paid you in the first place, you probably need to rework your financial situation. But the other side of this, and this is the other thing, because everything's got another side. Well, you know, the US have been pulling out of international bodies, and it's pulled out of the WHO, and that's the been big news and all that. Well, nearly half of the 66 organizations that the US is pulling out of are UN entities. And the statement's actually been made is these withdrawals end taxpayer support for entities that advance globalist agendas over US priorities or address key issues inefficiently, the statement read. adding that many of them targeted radical climate policies, global governance, and ideological programs conflicting with US sovereignty and economic strength. Well, if these withdrawals are ending taxpayer support, then all these withdrawals are ending money being paid into the UN. So you've got the UN on the point of bankruptcy. You've got the US pulling out of at least 66 programs, which means it won't be putting money in for those programs. You've also got the stupidity of its system and the way its financial system works. But you've got all this about against the background of a Davos, where they've announced the Board of Peace with a remit and with a suggestion of future remits that basically put it on a parallel with the UN.
Yeah.
Are these accidental withdrawals, or are they sabotaging it, trying to bring it down to replace it with the Board of Peace? Because the difference being that they don't have the vetoes from other countries, the difference being that Trump's in charge. However many, even the only people that stay on are the people that pay him $1 billion after 3 years. Are they trying to get rid of the competition?
Yeah, I think in many ways there are some countries that find the UN very inconvenient. It's a pain to them to have to go and put their hand up and say, no, we're not playing. And if we're not playing, you're not playing. And the UN then starts to become a paper tiger, basically. You know, it has no real power. It doesn't even intervene like it used to intervene. At one time, there was, you know, the UN would take peacekeeping actions. It would send in a peacekeeping force. They were never very effective, but at least they did it. It was the gesture. You know, they would send in troops from a number of whatever countries were willing to send troops under the UN banner. But even that seems to have gone. And the UN have in recent years become far more interested in their role as like the agenda for the 21st century, what people call Agenda 2020 and 2030. Mm-hmm. They've become far more focused on that. And also, I think a lot of the smaller countries don't feel that they get a fair shake out of the UN. It's not an organization of equals, and it never was. So perhaps the UN has run its course, but what can you replace it with? This Board of Peace, in many ways, seems to be set up similarly to how the UN was set up. The UN was kind of an American idea, and so is the Board of Peace. So perhaps, like you said, it's the replacement. But I don't know. Perhaps there will be eventually a division between like the Board of Peace of the big players and then a United Nations of all the rest. So I don't know.
Yeah, maybe scaled back in its remit.
And as for the financial side of it, I don't think any organisation that's like the UN is any good at accounting. I mean, just look at the European Union. They haven't passed an audit ever, you know, because there's too much money goes out the back door. There's too much money disappearing in you know, sweeteners and bribes. They can't afford to allow the auditors to you know, to really dig in. I think the UN's probably similar in that way. You know, there are people who are milking the UN, and there are those that don't get very much out of it. But,
no. Yeah. No, you're probably right on that one. It probably is an element of what goes out the back door as much as what doesn't come in. And it's when these companies want to account in a way that you can't understand the accounting, or in a way that they hide what's done in the accounting. They make it so you can't understand the accounting.
Yeah, creative accounting.
Creative accounting, but it's
Yeah.
almost confusion accounting in a way.
If you've ever worked for a corporation that has departments, and each department gets its budget allocation for the year, there's always a panic towards the end of the accounting year to ensure that you've spent every penny that you've been allocated. Because if you don't, next year they think you don't need the money and they won't give you it.
Yeah.
You'll get less.
Yeah.
So the pressure is always spend up to your budget. That's how that system works. Because if you don't, then you won't get that budget next year. They'll think, oh, that department doesn't need that much money. So I suppose there's an element of that in it, but only turned on its head the other way around.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, that was only a brief one, as I said, and like you say, we're coming up for 2 hours 40 minutes, so we will probably wrap it up there unless anyone's got any last thoughts they want to say. Do you have any last thoughts for the audience, Angela?
I don't believe so. I hope everybody stays warm and safe. Yeah. Everywhere.
Yeah, well, it's a good sentiment.
Because the world's crazy.
It certainly is that. It certainly is that.
Yeah.
As for me, I think at this stage, I've run out of thoughts. I'm running on instinct at the minute. I always do. By this time on a Sunday, I'm always at that level. It's pure reaction. Poke me and I'll move. Yeah. I'm very much in that respect like Ed Miliband, who is, you might not know who Ed Miliband is, Angela.
No, I've heard of them.
Yeah, right. He's our energy minister at the minute. And I've sat in a room with that man, and he only moves. He only shows any. There's only proof of life when it's his turn to speak. Otherwise, he sits there like a deflated pool toy. Yeah. And you think, is he dead? But then when it's his turn to speak, he becomes all animated and waves his sausagey fingers about. So yeah, I don't know how we got to Ed Miliband, but yeah.
That's hilarious.
But I'm feeling like that. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Just made me think of something I'll tell you later. It's funny. It's not the right time, though.
I'd just like to say that I did avoid. There was a story that piqued my interest, and it was a story about a Frenchman that had to attend hospital with a World War I shell inserted in his rectum. And I thought, I'll start looking into that. They had to call the bomb squad to pull it out and defuse it. And so I thought, let's have a look at interesting items that people have inserted. But I could have gone all night about that. So I thought, we won't do that.
Why?
Story.
It didn't have a pen, right? I mean, why just pop it out?
I think the thing's about that big, Probably about that.
Oh, it was a round. Oh,
it was a shell, a round. Yeah.
Oh, a shell. I was thinking of a smaller round.
A seashell. No, World War I.
Oh my goodness. That's insanity.
Well,
I think what he was thinking, but I imagine he wasn't thinking.
No.
People are gross.
Oh, once you start going down that route, it's amazing what you can find out.
Wow.
Do you want to find out, though, is the question.
No,
not
there are some things I'm not sure I really are that really want to know exactly what people have inserted in their rectum.
Yeah.
No.
That's why I'm not.
There was an interesting story about a guy in Texas who was visiting an antique store regularly, but never buying anything. And eventually they found out that he was picking items from the shelves and inserting them and putting them back on the shelves. And he'd been doing this for quite a long time because they had no security camera. So it's amazing.
That's so gross.
Well, yeah, go figure.
How many of those items will I have to sold?
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, I wondered if somebody took it home and thought, "Oh, this is lovely." Yeah, I've got a little
smell to it.
Yeah, it's kind of antique-y smell though, you know.
Yeah. I think I'm going to stop this conversation now. Before I follow where my mind's going.
This is uncharted territory.
I don't mind the concept, the idea that we may not last long on YouTube, but the idea that we got kicked off of YouTube for discussing what somebody inserted in their rectum.
I view it as from a medical point of view. You know, it's an interesting medical.
Right.
Yeah.
We're not looking at motivations. It's purely on the medical side, and in on that exact subject, what was it about the fifth one that Keir Starmer's now had charged for?
Rent boys. Yeah. Are they always Ukrainian? What is it about Ukrainians that you find so attractive? Mind you, like
perhaps they trade for getting out being let out of the country. Perhaps they trade that.
Yeah. Could be a form of bribery, couldn't it?
Yeah.
I've never asked which side of the equation he comes down on, but
no.
Like I said, now the conversation is completely
pure speculation. Yeah, that's it.
Pure speculation and pure thing. And on that note, or maybe not on that note, maybe on the note about 5 minutes ago, we'll call the show to an end. So Sunday evening, I'll be back on Tuesday at 9 p.m. with the Gleam in the North. Not sure what I'll be talking about yet, but it probably won't be what people insert into their rectums. Then Ian will be back on Wednesday at 7 p.m. with Smokem. Glenn won't be back on this coming week, but we will be back next Sunday at 1:50 with Lone Gunman Rides again, and at 8 p.m. with Last Jacobites International. So take care, and we will see you soon. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
We are the last Jacobites, proud and free, will not be bought nor bend the knee. Like our brothers cry and freedom's flame, we rise as one and stake our claim. Oh, side by side through storm and fight, we stand as one in truth and right. From every shore we answer the call, Clan Jacobite, we rise or fall. It matters not our skin or land, but hearts as one and hand in hand. The blood we share is brave and bold, in woven dreams and legends old. Oh, side by side through storm and fight, we stand as one in truth and right. From every shore we answer the call, Clan Jacobite, we rise or fall. I am you and you are me, a thread within this tapestry. For hopes of all, for every name, we light the fire, we keep the flame. No sea can part us, nor the land. Together strong we proudly stand. With courage, truth, and spirits high, we pledge our oath beneath the sky. Oh, side by side through storm and fight, we stand as one in truth and right. Raise the banner